Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how to make this great fitting face mask with a pocket for a filter if you want to add one, and it's washable. I'm using 100% cotton fabric, so start by pre-washing the fabric at least once. Twice is better. And for my filter, I'm using a piece of Oric HEPA filter vacuum bag for my filter, but it's not necessary if you don't have one. So let's get started. There's a link to my pattern on Google Drive in the description below, so go ahead and use that. And then once you cut it out, place the 4-inch side of the full pattern on the fold of what's going to be your outer fabric and cut one piece. Using that same pattern piece, fold the pattern along the large dotted line and place that same 4-inch side of the pattern on the fold of the lining fabric and cut one piece. Now using the same pattern piece, fold along the 3 small dotted lines, and this will make the small pattern piece for the HEPA filter or whatever filter you choose. There are 2 places where you're going to have to fold in a little bit of the excess paper to reveal the correct small pattern. Now place the longest side of the pattern piece on the fold on the HEPA filter and then cut one piece. Now I'm using that HEPA filter vacuum bag, but you can use non-woven interfacing instead. Both of these items are fairly waterproof or water resistant. Next, cut one piece of wire 4 inches long and use needle nose pliers to curl the ends. I'm using 18 gauge craft wire, but you could use any craft wire or hardware store wire or a pipe cleaner or twist tie, and it can be as little as 2.5 inches if you're short on supplies. Next, cut 2 pieces of elastic that are each 8 inches long. You can use hair ties, elastic headbands, shoestrings, yarn, string, anything. Start with your lining fabric and fold down the long sides, about 1/2 inch, and then with wrong sides together and sew those edges down. Put the outer fabric with right sides together and sew along that 1.5 inch edge. That's the smallest edge, and then repeat that on the lining fabric. Now open the 2 pieces of fabric and place them right sides together and sew along that top edge. Now sew along the 2 short bottom edges where the lining fabric and the outer fabric meet, but do not sew along that center V. Now turn the piece so that it is right side out and sew along that top edge of the lining and outer fabric, about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch from the edge, to create a pocket for the wire. Now the opening at each end of the pocket should be large enough to fit the curl of the ends of the wire. Next, sew down the 4 raw edges of the outer fabric, but be careful not to sew on the lining fabric and sew that pocket for the wire closed. Now fold the outer fabric with right sides together and sew through all 4 layers of that 2-inch chin seam. Now this is the V that we avoided sewing earlier. Fold the last raw edge down about 1/8 of an inch and fold it again about 1/2 inch and sew along this edge. The opening in this fabric pocket needs to be big enough to fit a knot in the elastic. Now repeat this on the other side. Use a large safety pin to thread the elastic through the fabric pocket. Tie a slip knot in the end of the elastic. Repeat this on the other side, and then spin the elastic so the knots are hidden in the fabric pockets. If the layers of the filter that you're using are not stuck together, sew along the bottom edge to keep those pieces together, but I don't recommend stitching anywhere else on the filter as it will introduce unnecessary holes. Now insert the filter between the outer fabric and the lining fabric. I find it easier to fold the filter to insert it and open it once it's inside the pocket. Now insert the wire into the wire pocket along the top edge, and when you have the wire centered in the pocket, fold it about 45 degrees. This is the wire that will be used to keep the mask snug against your nose and face, and once you're wearing the mask, you can adjust it so that the wire fits tight over your nose and cheeks. So this is the finished mask, and I'm not making any claims as to the safety of the mask or its use. I'm only sharing my design. It's not a professional pattern, so please forgive any errors, but thanks for watching and be safe out there.